You want to be a real estate investor and you're wondering how the hell do I raise the money? Recently on a Thursday night inside of our masterclass in the Apex group, we had the pleasure of talking to my good friend Sharif Medawar, and all he does is help people set up syndications or funds. That's the way that you could get started in real estate if you've got the time and the skill set to set up a fund and go and raise the money. Sharif's going to tell you how to do it. He's even going to be able to sell you a course if you want to. Anyways, he's funny, he's bright, he's brilliant. He helps you to do it. He takes you from A to Z all the way through it. At the end of the video, we'll talk about it again. Like and subscribe to the channel, guys, on the way in. Check out Sharif. Let's go.
I would like to take this opportunity to talk about how you can scale your game in real estate. So let's say you started and maybe you're buying properties and you're fixing them, or maybe you're wholesaling, putting something under contract pretty inexpensively and you're finding some people to assign it. Maybe you're doing some lending. So whatever the game you're in, commercial or residential, the ultimate game is to set up what is called group investing, if you will, is to get a bunch of people and you tell them, I have this project, I'd like to get you in with me. So if each of you give me 25,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, we're raising, let's say, $500,000 or $1 million. This way we can get a loan for 2 million. We're gonna take this property at $3 million. We're gonna fix it, or we're gonna actually reposition it, and then we're gonna sell it at 5 million. So what you do is you no longer work with your own credit or your own cash that's for a down payment and ability to get things done by yourself, but you're actually grouping people together and giving them that leverage and the power of teamwork led by you. So even if this is not your game now, it could be something you aspire to, something that you can actually work towards. Because a lot of people think small. They say, oh, I just want to do one deal, I want to do one property. Do it with the thought that once I know how to have a business model whereby I can do this 1, 2, 3, 4 and produce a profit, I can then tell investors about it and raise the capital, raise the money to actually put it in similar deals, and I can repeat the process with a bigger return for yourself and for the investors. So this idea, this concept is called syndications, or it's also called real estate funds. Anyone sitting here listening, even if you're not accredited, accredited means somebody with a net worth of $1 million, excluding your home. So if your net worth is not $1 million, your net worth is maybe $100,000, maybe $50,000. Once you have a business process that can produce profit in real estate, you can do that in business also, but our game here is real estate, you can set up a fund. So is that interesting for you? Can you just kind of raise your hand as I see your picture? Is that interesting at all? Okay, great.
It's interesting for me too.
Wonderful. I know, Bobby, you're very active on the island, and this could be a big thing for Puerto Rico, as like specifically Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico has these great opportunities, but the deals are done one at a time, small opportunities, etc. And I could see the island changing. I've been on the island since 1998, and I started doing very heavy investing in end of 2003, 2004, when I started buying in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. And now I have close to 30 buildings in Old San Juan. You can see my website, crepr.com, crepr.com, which is commercial real estate Puerto Rico. You can see my buildings. I own literally the traffic where the cruise ships arrive, on Tanca Street, where the people walk, Fortaleza Street, and Cristo Street, all the way to the coach building right before El Convento Hotel. Now, I love Old San Juan. I fell in love with it because I found it completely unique. It's the oldest historic zone under US flag. And you have a mixed use buildings. Downstairs, you have commercial, they rent 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And upstairs, you have residential. I used to do long-term. Then we found there is a need for short-term, like Airbnb, etc. So we did some Airbnb as well. I'm now the largest owner of Airbnb in Old San Juan. We have an in-house operation, and we employ a lot of people. And we also have a small hotel. We have office buildings, and all this I was able to accomplish one deal at a time. But what I was doing is I set up a real estate fund in California. So I talked to investors, I talked to students because I was teaching a lot real estate. I continued to teach real estate. And I started teaching people, hey, listen, you can do this to make money, or you can invest with me, or you can set up your own fund and have people invest with you. So I always, in life, the more you give, the more you get. And I wasn't giving to get, I wanted to give to help people because it was hard for me to learn in the beginning and figure out everything. And I made my money in California. Then I started doing Puerto Rico because of Old San Juan, because I had never seen something like this. I'd never seen something where the building, the older they get, the more valuable they become. Number one. Number two, I found this incredible balance between having long-term tenants. So I don't have to worry. I signed the lease with a jeweler for 5 years. I don't have to worry about it for 5 years. And upstairs residential, I do 1 year, or I can do nightly rent. So that mixed use was extremely powerful. And having cruise ship business, which continuously grows, except during COVID, it's constantly growing. Like if you Google right now, the only industry that was growing in the hospitality and tourism world globally was cruises. They kept building cruises for Virgin Voyages, for MSC, which is the Italian company in the Mediterranean and the Caribbean. And everybody want to be in the Caribbean. Why? It's just so easy for cruise business to do the Caribbean because it's all over the place. They can go to St. Lucia, Barbados, Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is the best. It's the third largest port. So to own buildings there and add value to the area and bring more employees and bring big employers and small souvenir shops and start up local people that want to start their business like Zafiro. Zafiro started with me. He said to me, I'm new, give me a chance. I said, okay, I'll charge you less. Let's make it happen. Now he's so big, he's got all over the place. So what helped me grow is I teamed investors together, took their money and started doing bigger projects in California. Took my profits, started buying more in Puerto Rico. So let's talk about what is required for you to set up your own real estate fund to group investors together, take their money and do it. That kind of business is controlled by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. This is the organization that allows companies like Facebook, IBM, Apple to go publicly traded in the stock exchange. They also allow private people like you and me since 1933 to raise money and put it in real estate projects or in businesses. But a lot of people don't know. And when you don't know, you don't even know what you don't know. Like the lowest level of knowledge is, I don't know what I don't know. A little bit higher, oh, now I know that I don't know, right? A little bit higher is, I know about it, I have an idea, which is the danger zone. Because if you start when you just have an idea, you can get hurt. So the highest level is you truly know it and you can apply it. So I'm gonna try my best to get you to the highest possible level for you to know it, whether you wanna apply it right now or maybe a year, 2 years down in your life. You know that there is a way for you to cut your financial life from 20 years to maybe 4 years, from 15 years to maybe 3 years. Why? Because if you're gonna do a deal for a couple $100,000, maybe you can do a similar deal, but for $2 million. Why? Because you're gonna get investors to give you the money. So you're gonna follow the rules of the Securities and Exchange Commission, which go like this. They say, if you're gonna take a bunch of people and take their money with the intention of returning profits to them and you're making all the decisions, that's a security. That means we are now involved. We need you to fill out a document called a Private Placement Memorandum. You can write it down, right? PPM. That's a Private Placement Memorandum. So there are SEC attorneys, these are special attorneys that will sit down with you and say, okay, Geraldo, okay, Raul, okay, Blake, you want to raise money. The attorney is going to say, what's your business plan? Who are the people with you? What kind of properties you're going to buy? What kind of marketing and positioning you have about these properties? Or loans, maybe you're going to do projects, rehab, build. You're going to take properties in the rainforest and convert them to whatever. So that's your business plan, okay? Who is involved with you? What properties or projects? What kind of positioning you have? And what kind of performance? Like you're going to raise how much money? And what you're going to do with the money? What's the story with the money? And then what profits are you going to pay these investors? And once you cover this, you give the attorney a business plan. And what's going to happen is the attorney will draft a private placement memorandum. It's about 40 pages. And it's going to tell the investors that you're going to talk to, here, we're following the rules of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm now allowed to raise money, and I'm going to do this with your money. And once we succeed, it's going to take, let's say, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. I'm going to pay you back so much. And that's the full disclosure. That's the full story. And once they do that, they file that document with the Security and Exchange Commission, sec.gov. This is the website. And the attorneys will file that for you. And you can create a website, and then you can start going and talking to people. You can go to investors clubs. You can go to friends and family. You can go to everybody, and you start raising money. You can raise money from two types of people. Those that are accredited, that means people with a net worth of $1 million without calculating the net worth they have in their home, in their primary residence. That's called an accredited person, is somebody who has a net worth of $1 million, excluding their home. Or, I didn't say and, I said or, if that person doesn't have $1 million, they should be making or have made $200,000 a year for the last 2 years, gross income, and expecting to make at least $200,000 this year. And if they are married, filing jointly, they should be making $300,000 the last 2 years and expecting to make $300,000 this year. So you can go to a dentist who's been making $200,000 the last couple of years, expecting to make this year. That could be an accredited person that can join your fund. You can raise money from people in Florida. You can raise money from people in New York. You have family members in New York or in Texas or whatever. You can actually tell them, would you like to be involved in some projects we have in Puerto Rico? And Puerto Rico now is on the map. You know, since 2017, the hurricane happened, people started to know about Puerto Rico. I remember I used to fly from California, go to Puerto Rico and go back. And I tell people I was in Puerto Rico and we're doing this, and they would say, how was your trip to Costa Rica? And I would get very upset. I said, I was not in Costa Rica, I was in Puerto Rico. Well, guess what? Since 2018, no more confusion. Everybody knows where Puerto Rico is. Everybody vacationed in Puerto Rico during the global pandemic. And we're on the map now. So it's a lot easier to conduct business. And believe you me, I have seen it because I started investing there very heavily. I told you 2004, 5, 6. When the economy started turning in 2007, 8, 9, and it crashed in 2012 in Puerto Rico. I remember 2013, the property values had dropped like 50%. I was there. But I believed in Puerto Rico and I bought some more. In 2012, 13, 14, when everybody was going bankrupt and people were giving away homes, I kept buying more. I said, there is one Old San Juan, there is one Puerto Rico, there is one area where the cruise ships can come in and people fly in to take the cruise without a passport because it's part of the US. And we're gonna come back. And then we started coming back, 2014, 15, 16. And I'm like, oh my God, the properties, the $1 million properties, $1.5 million now in 3 years. This is unbelievable. This is great. And then boom, 2017, the hurricane hit. It's like, you know, it's like you're doing a 15-round heavyweight boxing, and every time you come back, you get punched again, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go just one more round. I mean, I'm sure you remember, many of you. 2017, the hurricane hit so bad, Old San Juan was saved because the buildings are one next to the other, they're concrete, and we were hit the lowest impact. Sadly, many other parts of the island were hit hard. And what happened is I realized, wow, wait a minute. I was there in 1998 when there was hurricane and we had FEMA money. And when we thought it's a disaster and the island is just, like it was really bad in 1998 hurricane, we had so much money that local people that I knew told me, I'm a millionaire in 7 months. I said, how come? I now have the contract to put all the signage on the freeways. And this other guy, I'm now re-asphalting this area over there in Atorrey. I'm now doing this. And I said, how did you get the money? It's FEMA money. The federal emergency, this is part of the United States. So when the hurricane hit in 2017 and people started calling me in Old San Juan saying, listen, buy my building, man. I want to go to Orlando. I'm done here. I'm not going to go. I started buying. I sold everything I had in San Francisco and California, and I started buying like crazy. And I remember I was buying, and one time there was no electricity in Old San Juan, And I was buying this small hotel, 14 rooms from this guy who wanted to sell it. And I had to meet him in the El Convento Hotel because they had the backup generator. And his attorney came in a Jeep because there was so much water. And the attorney had me sign a paragraph that says, I, Sharif Medawar, of sound mind and spirit, and I know what I'm doing. Puerto Rico was hit with a hurricane. I accept to purchase this building. He was so afraid that I go back and sue them because like they're taking advantage of me. And I was feeling I was taking advantage of them. I'm like, listen, if he's happy and I'm happy, let's make the deal.
Exactly.
And of course, 2018, I started seeing a lot of people coming in because everybody started seeing the news. Puerto Rico got hit hard and FEMA money's coming and this is happening. And as you know, Puerto Rico has tax incentive. It's part of the United States, wonderful people. This is very unusual. We're coming back. Puerto Rico se levante was all over the place. And what happened, I started seeing more and everything started selling out. 2018, 19, 20. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Even with political problems, when they wanted to get the governor out and all this, people were still coming in. And of course, we got hit with the global pandemic. And at that time, for the first time in the history of cruises, the cruise ship business stopped. And what was I doing? Still buying, still working with tenants, putting them in, still fixing properties and doing things. And at the end of the game, market came back and now we're doing very well. So when I tell you I'm doing great right now in Old San Juan, it's a story of 20-year effort. But so how can you last 20 years? You could do it better than I did. You can set up a real estate fund and start buying in a specific area. You can use Old San Juan, you can use some property in front of the beach, you can get a property in Santurce and make the Airbnb. And you tell people, hey, I know Puerto Rico, or I'm local right here. Let's invest together. You will prepare a private placement memorandum. You will tell people about what you have, and they will give you the money because they want to invest passively. You will do the work. You can pay them some cash flow, and all the upside could be yours, or you can share some of the upside gain 2, 3, 4 years later. And banks love people that have funds because if they ask you, oh, you want to buy this $2 million building? Well, we need you to put $600,000 down payment. You can talk to one guy, gives you $300,000, to other people $50,000. Next thing you know, you got the money together and you have 4 investors with you. And now you're running a real estate fund. What does that mean? That means you're able to take the money, put it in a limited liability company, LLC, open a bank account, take their money, put it in. They sign the private placement memorandum, say, I qualify, my name is John Doe or Jose Rodriguez, whatever it is. You take their money. They give you the loan based on the big down payment because the bank gets the first position, and now you get the property and you can afford the team of people because you raise the money. You can get the contractor, you can get the people, make it look better, perform better. You can even do partnership with the contractor. You can help another friend of yours that you meet here and you can grow. I did a lot of good partnerships. I love partnerships. Of course, we put everything in writing. And then what we do is we improve properties and then you sell them later and you keep growing. So there are a lot of opportunities to do that in Puerto Rico. California has got people competing with each other right and left. Florida has got more people coming from all over the country to Florida than you can ever imagine. But in Puerto Rico, everybody's confused. People come in and they don't know, should I buy here? Should I buy there? You just heard Bobby saying, brokers don't respond. Why? They're busy. Do you know, I bought a property one time, I called this broker. I kept calling, nobody picks up. I kept calling because there was a great deal that I saw listed. And finally she answered the phone and she said, yes, what's going on? And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm calling you because I saw this advertisement and it's really looks like a nice property. I like it. She said, I'm at the dentist with my daughter. I said, can I send you an offer? She said, text me what you want to pay. I texted her. This is what I'll pay. I'm willing to close in 4 days. I'll buy it as is. I'm doing that like every few minutes. I send her another text. I'll make it easy for you. You don't have to call me back. Just remove the advertisement from Clasificados online. She finally responded, okay, I'm going to remove it because everybody's calling me. I don't have time for this. And if you're serious, show me proof of funds. Show me that you have the money. I showed that I have the money. We closed on the deal. The people said, we don't want to leave. We need 90 days because we're older. I said, take 4 months. Don't worry. You're like my parents. They took 4 months. They left. I got the deal. That lady, I had to call her like 7 times. Am I blaming her? No, but there are certain things that happen in every area and you can take this to your advantage. In California, when I sell, I know I got 6, 7 people calling me. In Puerto Rico, when I buy, I'm the only one buying because other people are confused. So you're not going to be confused when you are local and you're studying this and you're making calls like what you're having right now with Bobby and with me and other people, etc. So there are 2 types of people you can raise money from. Number 1 are the accredited people with $1 million net worth, or they make 200,000 a year or 300,000 the last couple of years, and they can actually continue to make that year. There is also, you can raise money from what's called non-accredited people. Non-accredited people are people that are friends and family that don't have a net worth of $1 million. They don't make 200,000 a year. Then maybe it's a school teacher who saved maybe $30,000. Maybe they have a retirement account, they have a bank account here, they sold their car, they got an extra 50K, and they would like to invest it. They would love to buy a McDonald's building, but they don't have $1 million to buy a McDonald's building. But you come in and you say, hey, Joe, I got this deal under contract and I'm a real estate fund manager. I know you don't have a net worth of $1 million. I know you don't make a lot of money, but would you like to invest 50,000 or 25,000? And you can take up to 35 non-accredited people in your fund. So long as they are friends and family, like people with whom you have established a relationship, people that know you. And this way you can group these investors together and put them in a deal. So you're helping friends and family. What more powerful than that? And you have a document that protects you legally under the watchful eyes of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Something goes wrong, you're protected, unless you're lying or you're stealing or you're being negligent. Of course, I'm saying everybody here is honorable. You're going to do your best. You're going to get the best team, put the deals together, and pay the investors as promised. So it's your chance to accelerate the game of life, the financial game. So as you, let's say, raise money and buy a building that's, let's say, 50 units that's rented near the beach, and you convert 10 units as Airbnb and the rest long-term. And the way you bought it is you got investors together, put their down payment, put a little money of yours, just a little money. And you did the paperwork with an attorney, filed it, and now the SEC knows who you are. You're following the rules, you're raising the capital. In your private placement memorandum, you're telling them, we're gonna buy this building. We're gonna pay you just 5% cash flow. We're gonna be in 5 years selling the building. It's gonna increase in value as we keep improving it and increase the rent. And then when you sell it 5 years later, you get the money, you can give them 60% of the profit, 70% of the profit, and you keep 30%. So you sell it for $2 million more because you got a great deal and that's why they came into the transaction. 30% is yours, that's 600,000. Plus you made some cash flow, maybe over the 5 years, maybe you made 70, 80,000 a year. So you made $1 million from one deal. You don't have to just do one deal. Right now I have 7 luxury homes in San Francisco in my real estate fund. 7 luxury, that's $70 million. With my own money alone, I have a lot of buildings in Puerto Rico. So I don't have that much money in California. I got maybe $5, $6 million in California. But my point is that has happened through the years. So know that you're gonna get older. Know that you're in the game of real estate. So why not turbo the results and get outside your comfort zone and then grow and it becomes your comfort zone. And more people will join you. By the way, I have quite a few people on the island that set up real estate funds. We have Eduardo Joy Capital. You can look at it. He's got his own Instagram. He just actually bought a property from me after he set up the fund. He said, Sharif, we did a deal in Santurce. We did so well, turned it into a hotel. He got investors with him. He came to me. He said, I see that you have this property at San Sebastian Street. I got my investors. They want to grow with me. I'm getting more investors. Can I get this from you? I said, do you have all the money? He said, I have a small down payment. Can you just carry the financing a little bit, work with me? I said, you got the cash down payment. You already did another deal. You're going to convert this. Not only will I carry the financing with you, which is something I'm sure you've heard many times, like give them installment payment, but I will also give you 4 months no payments. I will also give you the architect. I'll also give you this team and that team because I'm an old San Juan and I have the people. His success is my success. So don't underestimate yourself. Sometimes all you need is just the right structure, not the right strategy. Because you can have a strategy and you keep repeating it, but you have a finite time in life, finite credit, finite energy. But when you actually set up a fund where you tell people, come with me into this, and you can start with a small project, maybe something 400,000. You get it, you fix it, it starts performing, you sell it at 600. How do you set up the fund? You can set up your real estate fund in one of two ways. You can write this down. You can set up an equity fund. Equity fund is the type of funds where people join you and you give them percentage of the cash flow, and when you sell it, percentage of the upside. So you tell them, I'll give you 4% cash flow or 5% only, because we need to reinvest in the property and make it better. And 5 years from now, when we sell it, the profit, the net profit, I'm going to give you 60% or 70% of the profit, and I'm keeping 30 or 40%. Now, that's an equity deal. Or you can set it up as a debt, not an equity, but as a debt transaction, whereby you tell the people, look, you can come in, I'll give you a promissory note. That means they come in, they're like lending you, because they get now steady income, 6 to 8% per year. And the property is cash flowing better, so you're paying them cash flow, but when you sell it, the upside is all yours. Why would some investors come into a debt fund? Because a lot of investors like steady returns at a little bit higher. I know people that set up funds, they pay the investors 8%, and they take the money and they loan it out at 12%, 2 points, 15%, 4 points. This is Puerto Rico. The hardest thing to do is to talk to the banks and get loans from the banks. You know the name. Bobby is one of the biggest guys on the island with this, the lending game. He helped a lot of people. I've known a lot of people that said, oh, this deal, I put it together because Bobby did this with me. And we were just talking on the phone the other day when he said, you want to come on this call? And he said, yes, this is how I structure it and this is what I do. Can you imagine? You can raise the money and partner with him. He already has the formula. So in your real estate fund, we set it up for you, and you can say, this fund shall also do joint ventures, partnerships with existing lenders on the island of Puerto Rico and in Florida. You're part of the US now. The whole game is yours. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to grow? And then why go outside? Puerto Rico has all the opportunities in the next 5 years. To be honest with you right now, California is having a lot of problems. Florida, I do developments in Florida with my real estate fund. We develop next to Sarasota, Florida. We do next to it in a city called Northport. Northport, we do 10 homes at a time. We buy the land, we build them. We just finished them. You can see them under Mixif, my fund. And guess what? We thought we were going to sell them at 480,000. Now we had to put them at 450. You know why? Because the interest went up. So Puerto Rico right now is doing better than Florida. It's just unbelievable. Puerto Rico was doing bad and California was doing great in my years of investing there. Then California dropped and Puerto Rico is doing better. So it's a beautiful way to invest, and it doesn't matter, generally speaking. You can find one particular deal that makes sense. What if you have investors and you don't have the deal? You got investors who want to give you the money. Team with somebody else who's got the deals. What if you want to do lending? You raise the money, team up with somebody like Bobby, team up with somebody else that you meet that's active. You can even buy existing financing notes at a discount if somebody want to cash out. But you have to have the money. Yes, you can do some deals, no money down and all this, but it's so hard because you're competing with people all cash. So how do you get the cash? You get a bunch of people with little money and you tell them, let's become a powerhouse here to team up with the money together. And if you're telling me, Sharif, I'm not a salesperson, I don't know how to present, you have the paperwork and you have the deal. You just tell them the numbers. Here's what we're going to do.
How about that? What did I tell you? Does Sharif Medawar deliver it or what? Let's talk about it in the comments now. Tell me, what did you think of what Sharif said? Are you ready to start your own fund? If you are, and you raise the money, I'll bring you deals. I want to partner with you. I want to be a part of your real estate investing story. That's why we do this YouTube channel. That's why you subscribe. That's why we invite you to join our free community on the Flip Flop Flipper over on the school platform. Guys, the link's in the description. Set up a call with me. Let's talk strategy. Let's do some deals together.